So it's Thursday here today, and I'm about to head to Seattle to go ahead and pick up my badge.
Hey everyone, it's Balance. So, this year, I was fortunate enough to get a free badge from PAX to cover 2024's PAX West. Friday was fairly packed as I had made a lot of my appointments on that day, mostly so that I can focus on that at the beginning and then end PAX by playing a lot of the demos. So on Friday, I had appointments with 3 different companies: Serenity Forge, Ysbryd Games, and Dread XP. Serenity Forge had a really good roster of games that appealed to my love of horror games, which is why I was originally interested in booking an appointment with them to begin with. The games that I play from their booth were Centum, Roman Sands Rebuild, and Keylocker. Centum was the first game that appealed to me since it was presented as a psychological horror with a point-and-click gameplay style with a lot of puzzles in it. That format, I always felt like it was kind of more of a fun platform that sort of catered to my nostalgia, and I think it's in that medium that it is able to really fully utilize the psychological horror aspect of the game. Roman Sands itself was a very fast-paced game, which was all about going through a certain kind of loop, I think, fulfilling mini quests from the different NPCs that you find over there. Honestly, I had a bit of difficulty trying to understand the game, but I think I would have figured it out if I had a little bit more time. Now, Keylocker, that was a very fun game. A very pleasant surprise, honestly. It reminded me a lot of Super Mario RPG, which was a game that I grew up on, so it brought back a lot of fond memories. Now with Ysbryd Games, the publisher of Valhalla, I demoed 2 of their games that they brought to PAX West, Love Eternal and Everdeep Aurora. Love Eternal is a platforming psychological horror developed by a guy named Toby Alden. Now this game checked all the boxes I love in a psychological horror. Great gameplay, super engaging, and a tense environment that just makes you so uncomfortable. It was honestly great hearing Toby's thought process behind the development of the game and his origins leading up to it.
It's sort of more of a remake. I made that game, I started to work on that game 11 years ago. I think I finished it 9 years ago. It took about 3 years, and that's like a very bare bones, stripped down masocore platformer, like absurdly difficult, like for the true freaks. And when I decided I was going to make a commercial project, I sort of went back to that and decided to use it as the foundation for this game. The influences I was drawing from for it, a lot of them did sort of fall into that canon of work. You know, I think at the time I was making it, I was thinking about stuff like Kiyoshi Kurosawa's films, especially Pulse. I was thinking about the most recent season of Twin Peaks The Return, Serial Experiments Lane, Satoshi Kon's works, especially Paranoia Agent. So sort of stuff within that genre where, you know, it was horror but maybe not like explicitly gory or like jump scary stuff, sort of more a general sense of unease. You know, I have a dozen or so things up on my itch page of like various scales. This game is definitely like the most polished, serious release I've done to date, but I do have other games out there that are floating around.
Everdeep Aurora, on the other hand, was honestly a nice refresher, as this game was more of a comfy sort of game. They specifically went out of their way to avoid using violence for anything in this game, and the entire point of the game is to actually explore the underground world using a drill. This time around, I was accompanied by Rob, the production lead at Ysbryd Games. Now, Rob was honestly really incredible with how he was able to almost speak in like a flow of consciousness state, and I learned a lot about the game as a result.
The idea is that it's a game which has no violence, and we want players to be able to explore the world and unravel its story, its history, and its mysteries in a way which isn't predicated on them being especially good with combat or with reflexes. So if, for example, you liked the atmosphere and the world building of Hollow Knight, but you felt like the the very difficult combat was a barrier to you enjoying that world and seeing what the secrets were like further into the game, then Everdeep Aurora is kind of the game for you. The placement of the tiles is slightly randomized in each run, so it's not possible to like write a definitive guide. Like if you drill exactly here, there'll be a shaft that leads exactly in this direction because it's randomized. So this keeps it like fresh between runs and makes the experience a little different for each player.
And the last one of the day was Dread XP, to try both Heartworm and Dread Delusion. Now, I'm going to be honest, Dread Delusion wasn't really my cup of tea. It played similarly to other open world games like Fallout and the Elder Scrolls games, but with PS1 graphics. While that's not terrible, I've sort of grown tired of that genre, so it just wasn't the one for me anymore. But Heartworm, now that was a game that was right up my alley. It had more of a Resident Evil sort of gameplay, and because of that, along with its horror themes, that one was a no-brainer. I had a lot of fun playing that one. Almost all of these games that I demoed are still in development, so it'll be a while before they come out, unfortunately. It's just such a terrible tease because now I have to wait for a while before they finally come out for me to play. Honestly, still, I am blessed to have gotten the opportunity to chat with the publishers and developers in all of these bookings. If the opportunity ever rises again, I'd love to give them a proper interview when I have better equipment. The first appointment I had on Saturday was with a company called Ysbryd Games to demo their game, Urban Myth Dissolution Center. I've probably said it enough to annoy people at this point, but I absolutely love horror games. So, of course, this was a no-brainer for me to try. The game surprisingly played similarly to the Phoenix Wright games in the sense that there is a little bit of exploration to ultimately solve mysteries. Of course, Phoenix Wright was nowhere near as scary, but honestly, its pixel art was phenomenal. It was beautiful and it drew me in, and the gameplay accompanying it was just icing on the cake. Easily will be one of the games that I'll stream on Twitch the moment I get that chance. The next and last appointment I had for PAX was with Kess Entertainment. Kess Entertainment is a company that publishes and creates a lot of board games, and they have recently been doing a lot of collaborations with different companies such as One Piece and Sonic. So in the email, they mentioned both of those, and I didn't care much for One Piece, but the moment I saw Sonic, I was like, yes! When I got there, I met with Court and Tony. Court was the marketing PR for Kess Entertainment, and Tony was the guy who actually designed the games. He even designed the Spy X Family board game I got a while back. So it was actually really cool to be able to meet and talk to him. The first game we demoed was Sonic Speed Battle, which, if you guys know about Monopoly, you know that there's also like a card game version of it called Monopoly Go. Sonic Speed Battle was similar in that aspect, in the sense that it was a simple card game that's easy to dive into with very little setup. The game itself actually consists of 3 mini-games, so there's a lot of room for variety in that game.
So I'm Tony Thorpe. I was the lead game designer here on Sonic Speed Battle and our other Sonic game, Sonic Roll. Yeah, we've been working with Sega for a little while now. There's been some interest in some Sonic-related board game stuff. So we started with Sonic Roll, a classic Sonic game for 1 to 4 players. That was a bigger, crunchier board game for more board gamers who have that nostalgia for the old Sonic games. And then we needed a counterpoint to that with a lighter, kind of modern-themed Sonic game. And so we wanted to use the modern property for that. Shadow's coming out. It is the year of Shadow after all. So we wanted to get those characters in. So we have made a game themed after his original game, Sonic Adventure 2.
The second game we demoed, however, was easily the biggest highlight of PAX for me. Sonic Roll was the second game that we played, and that one was more of a sit-down board game that involves a bit more of a setup, but oh my god, it is so much fun to play. The art for the game was absolutely beautiful, the colors really popped out, and the gameplay was honestly pretty straightforward once you kind of got the hang of it. But in that 30 minutes that it took for us to play the game, it was enough to convince me to buy the game right then and there. After the recording was finished, I was about ready to go up and buy the game, but then out of nowhere, Court came up with a bag saying that they had a present for me. I thought it was going to be like some nice goodies, but when I opened the bag, there was Sonic Roll. They gave the game to me for free. So now I have a burning agenda to spread the word about the game as much as I possibly can, because I really just love the game that much. I may do a review of the game when I have a proper setup to do so, but I want to give the game the best presentation I possibly can because it very much deserves it.
Yeah, we're trying to make things that, like I said, they're built from the ground up to really respect and reference the IP. So that's what people, I think, are looking for in these games. They want the things translated, but still into a fun board game.
The rest of PAX was mostly filled with me just trying out as many games as I could, taking however many pictures I could, enjoying the convention overall. One of the things that I always talk about when it comes to traveling or going to conventions is the opportunity to meet new people and getting to know all these random people who are interested in the same things as you. And my God, I definitely got that opportunity at PAX as well. I did actually write about each of the people I met and or hung out with, but that would easily add like 5 to 10 minutes. So I'll just do like a speed run of the shoutouts. First off, we've got Kurotsuki, Hayes, and Zeta, who are great friends of mine. I am so glad that I got to meet up with them. Then there's Sophie from Serenity Forge. There's Fizz, Kyle, Rob, and Ysbryd Games. There's Toby, the developer of Love Eternal. There's Parker, the project manager of Dread XP. John Davis, the director of Bit Summit, who was in charge of the Shueisha Games booth. Court and Tony from Kess Entertainment. Adia, Gerald, Chris, and Eka from Toge Productions, the people who made Coffee Talk, along with the volunteers, Clover Inori, Lyra, and Starling. Brandon, aka Brando Bard, an exceptional Ocarina player, Ian and Jake, two photographer hobbyists that I had a great time chatting with, and last but not least, Johnny Junker, an exceptional cosplayer and prop maker. The write-up that I do have of these people, I will actually have up on a blog post, which should be linked in the description below. But I will also link their socials if I have them in the description as well, so check them out. They're all seriously great people. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really hope that you enjoyed my little coverage of PAX. Until next time, everyone. See ya.